Thank you for taking the time and joining us today. Could you tell us about yourself and your career in the software industry?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me with you. So I am Jean-Luc Robert, CEO and chairman of Kyriba, and I started my career as a consultant. Then Kyriba is my third venture, which I started, and before that, I'd started a consulting firms, and which I sold to EDS, and had a software asset management platform firm which I started a few years ago that sold to FIS, and Kyriba is my third venture, and I've been driving this venture now for a number of years, for 14 years, and it's a global company, and so we have a SaaS management software which is focused on liquidity, and maybe I will develop that a little later.
Okay, could you give us some more information about Kyriba and the global structure of the company to our audience, please?
Yes, absolutely. So our focus at Kyriba is the liquidity. The liquidity is something which is not very well managed in the corporate world. And so we're able to see the liquidity. We're able to move the liquidity with our payment solutions. We're able to protect the liquidity with our on FX compliance and fraud. And we're able to optimize the liquidity with a working capital solution. So it's a one platform. It's a full SaaS platform. Today, we have a presence we have the leader in the US, in Europe, and in Asia. And we have a global presence. And we have about 2,000 clients roughly today on a global basis.
That's great. What are the benefits of a treasury and finance solution that is delivered in the cloud?
So I think it's very easy to connect because you have no cost in internal cost. You can connect very easily because the go live is very short, and you're able to be live and to have access to all the information and all the data in a single focus point in a very cheap and a very effective way and very quickly. So that's the advantage of what we're providing to our customers. That's where our customers see the value of Kyriba as well.
Okay. What was your strategy as Kyriba for the customers who were in the midst of their digital transformation projects and have been impacted due to the pandemic restrictions?
Yeah, so as you know, we operate in the world of the digitalization of the CFO. That's our space. So the CFO has started being seriously digitalized, I would say 7, 8 years ago. And we're one of the players which helped to digitalize the CFO business. So as such, we have a strategy. We're really focusing on that. Really focusing on CFO and treasurer being able to complete their work in much more easier way, being able to do what they automate what they were doing manually, and at the same time to really focus on core questions like what if, what happened if I do that, what happened if I do that. So take a full benefits of the analytics. Interestingly, since the COVID crisis started, we see an acceleration of that because what we see that our customers or our prospect wants to move more and more on automated system because they have more and more questions from the CEO, from the board, to the CEO for the treasurer, and they are much more involved in current market, in current economy. And so the CFO and the treasurer need a tool to be able to answer this question in a very efficient, in a very effective way. So I think the COVID crisis is accelerating the digitalization of the CFO office.
So it's actually accelerated the digital transformation projects. Okay.
Absolutely.
And the pandemic has caused a permanent increase in remote working. And what are the advantages of Kyriba for its users in a remote environment?
So I think it's a remote environment. It's perfect because you don't have to go. Today, the company needs to operate the same way than they were before, but they cannot have access to the office. They have to work different hours. And meantime, they need to manage their liquidity, manage to manage their cash. They need to forecast. They need to do effective their payment in a secure way. So Kyriba enables us to do that very remotely. It's a best-of-class tool because you are able to operate in a very remote and very safe way, and without going to the office. And we're able to support our client on a full-time basis. So we're able to support them 24 hours by 24. And so that gives them the flexibility to adapt their working hours to their needs as well. So Kyriba is a perfect tool to act and work efficiently on a remote basis.
The global bank connectivity is often one of the most challenging components of ERP deployment or cloud migration. What are the most common ERP bank connectivity challenges, and how does Kyriba help companies to accelerate the ERP cloud migration and bank connectivity?
Yeah, so as you know, at Kyribas, we have a very, very sophisticated connectivity tools. We connect 600 banks on a daily basis. 600 banks, so we have a lot of protocol to communicating the banks, either through tools with existing market tools like Swift or other, either through our own needs. And so this has been accumulated in the 15 years we've been in business. And so we have a very sophisticated bank connectivity tool. So we're able for our customers to put them alive on the bank connectivity on a global basis in a very short amount of time. And of course, when you do ERP connectivity, the part which is the most difficult in a way, and the part which is not very often very taken care of is the connectivity. So we're able to jump in a ERP project moving to the cloud and to secure the connectivity part, to do it in a very efficient way, in a very short delays, and with a very efficient price. And this is a focus for us right now, to really focus on this bank connectivity, which is a nerve of the ERP migration project. And you have 350,000 companies who are going to move from an installed solution to the cloud in the upcoming 7-8 years. And all these companies, I mean, the bank connectivity is one of the biggest challenge. I was talking to recently to the person, the partner in charge of all the ERP implementation at the global practice, one of the big four. And we were talking, he told me, you have a very sleek tool for solving a huge problem. So the bank connectivity is really one of our focus. I think it's one of the main assets of Kyriba. And in the case of an ERP migration, it's still definitely a tool that we bring to our clients to secure the ERP migration. So we're able to do that in a very efficient, very short time. Meanwhile, they can focus on really getting the ERP to the cloud. So we can take these problems off their shoulders.
The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic has triggered a deep liquidity crisis, highlighting the importance of active liquidity management. What are the key lessons that businesses can learn from this liquidity crisis? And why do you think active liquidity management is so mandatory in this era?
So I think it's, as I was saying previously, I mean, the COVID crisis has accelerated the digitalization because people need a tool to be able to work remotely, efficiently, securely. So without a tool like this, they're stuck. So we see that a lot of accelerations. Plus, there is the second thing that we're speaking about, which is the involvement of the board and the CEO in the day-to-day business. They're asking more questions. They want to have responses. So they need a tool and enable them to provide these answers using artificial intelligence or BI, or business analytics. So I think that this tool is going to get, the COVID crisis is going to increase that. Second thing in COVID crisis, I mean, cash is essential. So the fact of monitoring your liquidity and being able to accelerate your cycle from liquidity to cash is a very important matter that needs to be addressed. So I think not only we see the fact that in this crisis people request to use a tool more and more, but the second thing, they need to manage their cash much more efficiently, which enables Kyriba does, and we enable that to be more effective in the day-to-day and long-term work.
Okay. We have heard a lot of success stories from finance and IT executives from different companies in Kyriba Global Summit 2020.
Yeah.
What is behind the scenes of Kyriba's success?
Well, I think there's two main things in which behind Kyriba's success. The first thing is that we're really focused on the product. We have a huge investment of the product. In 25% of our revenue goes to product. So it's huge. And so it's one platform. We develop everything on the same platform. It's a one-stop shop, the same place, and it's one code. It's cohesive code and cohesive resources. The second thing which explains is that really focus on our client. Client is very important to us. We're a very customer-centric company. So I think the focus both on the platform and the clients explain what we are. And of course, the third pillar there is our people. But focusing on these three people is essential. And I think it does account for where we are today.
And for the last question, although it is very difficult to predict the future today, what can you say about the future of treasury and finance solutions?
Well, I think it's an interesting thing. I think we're just at the start of the digitalization. I think things are going to accelerate. It's going to be a much more at a very quick space. We spoke about the payment space. In different form of payments are going to happen, and we need to be there to provide the service to our customers. At the same time, I mean, the intrusion of artificial intelligence, we can start to see that everything around this platform. We see a lot of things going on about cash forecast, about cash prediction, about receivable forecast, and so on. So I think it's going to be a huge, the huge of the analytics and the new technology is going to move the question from for the CFO, the treasurer, to making more and more very decision-making role, make more evolve more towards a strategic decision role. So it's going to be a big change in their function due to the fact that tools are going to be available, and it's going to happen very soon. So I think this digital transformation is going to create new opportunities and for the CFO and treasurer, and position them at a very strategic level in the company.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Jean-Luc. Thank you for your time and joining us today.